everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Thursday, April the 11th. It's race number 4 at Keeneland. Maiden special weight for 3 and up, going 6.5 furlongs. Let's take a peek at this field. Your heavy favorite on the morning line is the 8, Jefferson Street, 3-year-old, taking on some elders for the first time in his career. Earned a whopping 91 Beyer speed figure in his seasonal debut.
Horse is going to be a handful in here, and he's just way the horse to beat. Dan ran really well last time, even though he had to settle for third in a really fast race. His debut at Saratoga last summer before the layoff ran really well that day too.
He draws a nice outside attack post position with the early speed to get close to the pace. And as we throw up our Timeform US pace projector, he's going to be close to the number 5 Paved in Gold, who is the likely pace setter. Showed speed in his debut at Laurel, showed speed over the synthetic at Turfway last time out. The blinkers are coming off today, but he's going to be up close to the pace, with Jefferson Street likely in a nice spot.
Yeah, Jefferson Street's plenty fast to go forward in this race. I'll be interested to see if Junior Alvarado and Bill Mott, if they want to get maybe a little more aggressive with Jefferson Street this time. They've been happy to sort of track off of horses in his first 2 starts. I wonder if they're on a send this time.
The horse with the fastest Timeform US late pace rating is the 3 Midway Lights, a New York shipper and one of 2 in the race, trained by Rick Dutrow. We'll take a look at the 1 Rock and Roll Bolt. This horse exits a solid enough performance at the fairgrounds, although watching that race, you have to wonder if it's just a bad loss. He was able to make the lead. It looked like he had 3 on this field at the 8th pole, and I know the favorite ran him down. You got to win at that point.
I agree. I did not like that loss. And listen, maybe that's, one reason they're turning him back in this race, and maybe cutting back to sprint will really help this horse and get him to take the step forward that he's going to need to take in here. I don't hate his overall form, Dan, but it's pretty clear he's got to improve to beat this field.
He's going to have to cut back in distance. His best races have come going long, and while it's unlikely he'll make the lead in here, maybe that's going to be good for him. Maybe he can tuck in after breaking from the rail under Rosario and work out a pace-tracking, ground-saving trip. Guilty Affair is the number 2. This horse made his first 2 starts on dirt at Remington Park, then went to the sidelines for an elongated layoff. He returned on turf last time out. It was against winners. He had a terrible post position. Just draw a line through that race and figure, his race 2 starts back at Remington. He chased a very fast pace in a race that went to closers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, I don't think you're going to love him off of the 2 dirt races at the end of 2022, but they're not terrible performances. And maybe they were just prepping on turf when they brought him back last time. I really liked the horse that won that race, so I do think he was in a pretty good field there. I mean, I guess if nothing else, he's a wild card in here at a big price.
Midway Lights is the number 3, one of the 2 Dutrow trained runners. He finished 4th behind his stablemate Cage Match, but that was a race that just didn't have any pace. He didn't break very well. He was trailing early, and he actually showed a little bit of sneaky late interest. That's the kind of debut I don't mind seeing at all. Just a learning debut. And second time out, Mike, we've often seen them break a heck of a lot better.
I agree. I everything that you said is what I was going to say, Dan. It just felt like a debut that maybe he needed. He was a little green in that race too. I really appreciated the way that he ran on at the end. I really did think he's by City of Light. This is a Phipps female family with a lot of distance. I thought we would see a stretch out for a second start. We don't see that, but maybe that's a good sign that Dutrow comes back sprinting him again. I think this horse is going to run a lot better. And by the way, he was the shorter price of the 2 Dutrows in that race.
You just took the words out of my mouth. He was shorter than Cage Match in that race, and you'll see how Cage Match, the number 4, did in that spot against Midway Lights. Like Midway Lights, it wasn't the greatest break. I thought he got a really nice ride, though, from Jose Gomez after that, who found the pocket on the back stretch. He is over and behind horses, though, and has been since about the quarter pole. And once he eases to the outside, he's very, very game to finish second behind a more experienced rival. Midway Lights runs 4th.
Yeah, he runs fine in this race. I have no knocks on this performance from this horse. He could easily improve here. The 76 Beyer's rock solid for a first-time starter. Listen, I still prefer his stablemate in this race, but this horse can run well in here. Interesting to note, Dan, he's a half, of course, to Dutrow's White Abarrio, but he sold before White Abarrio won the Whitney and the Breeders' Cup. What do you think he would have sold for if they bought him after that?
More. The number 5 is Paved in Gold, a horse that in his career debut at Laurel has only started on dirt. He finished second that day against a pretty decent horse in Mosler time. I like that he was able to show some sharp speed in that race. He was kind of a little bit tight at that point. All in all, it was a good performance. I was a little bit surprised that they then ran him at Turfway Park over the synthetic. And again, he showed high speed in that race and got involved in a pace battle. He can get the lead in this race at a price. He just needs to improve from a buyer speed figure standpoint. But at this point in his career, he's so lightly raced, it's not out of the question.
It's not. I do wonder if, coming out of the gate running here, though, and making the lead is actually a good thing in this race. It may not be, considering who he's going to be up or he's supposed to be up on the pace with in here, Dan. I mean, I don't know. You're right. He's a horse who took a little bit of money in both of his starts. He'll be a big price this time if you like him, but I didn't like him.
Tonka Trouble is a first-time starter going out for trainer Glenn Wismer. He is by the sensational perennial leading sire Into Mischief. Now, this horse sold for $210,000 as a yearling, and then they pinhooked him. They sold him at OBS in June last year, and he went down. Only 75,000, a furlong in 10 and 2. He's by Into Mischief. Not surprisingly, he's got pedigree. He's a half to a stakes winner on the turf. The dam's a half to a grade 3 stakes winning dirt sprinter. It's the family of Travers winner, Colonel John. You usually don't like to see these horses, though, that sell big for a yearling when they mature down, but it'll be a price with a good pedigree.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the other thing that's hard to take with this horse. It's not an easy spot for a first-time starter. He's given away a lot of experience to horses. Not only have they've already run well.
Accident is the number 7. He is a 27-time maiden, but he's earned 6 figures. He has some black type. He was third in a stakes race on turf at Kentucky Downs as a 2-year-old. It's just that he's been stuck at this level for a long time. And he just doesn't have any speed whatsoever. He'll likely be outrun early. If you give him some pace, he does have some buyer speed figures that make him interesting to perhaps liven up the bottom of your single race exotics.
True enough. Just a horse is really hard to like on top in here. If you want to use him underneath, be my guest.
Jefferson Street ran once as a 2-year-old for Bill Mott. Thought all in all, against the quality of competition he was in against that day, he ran well. Unfortunately, he missed the rest of the year, and he returned in this race at Gulfstream Park going 7/8 of a mile. And he showed good speed. He pushed the pace on the outside. He makes a brief lead in the stretch. BU, who ended up and also ran in the Bluegrass last week, is going to run him down. He's getting a little bit tired at the end of this race, but I guess it's to be expected off the layoff.
Yeah, that's fair enough too. That's how I sort of feel about it too. Maybe he just needed it. He wasn't quite fit. To be honest, and listen, even if you think the winner ran too big, he couldn't beat him, it was too fast a race. I wanted him to be second in there, and I certainly didn't want him to be, desperately hanging on for third in a 3-way photo. He's still way the horse to beat. I liked his debut at Saratoga. He ran fine last time. You don't have to take a short price on him in here, but he's way the most likely winner.
In another stride, he's 4th in that race. It looked like he was getting that tired in the stretch. Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Let's take a look at our top picks for our Thursday race of the day. Midway Lights for you, one of the Dutrow entrants, just expected to run a lot better and be a lot fitter second time out.
Yeah, Jefferson Street's probably going to win this race, but I'm going to bet Midway Lights in here. That's the kind of debut that I like to see horses come back up. I think he can do a lot better, and he might be a fair price.
There's no price on Jefferson Street. As Mike said, though, he just seems like the most logical winner on paper. I'm a little curious to see about how Rock and Roll Bolt does with this turn back in distance. Again, a bad loss last time out going 2 turns. Really respect these connections, though. Jose Cameo is a very underrated trainer. 8145 for me, 3845 for Mike. Thursday race of the day at beautiful Keeneland. It's race number 4. Good luck.